Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that the amendment to the Federal Constitution to prohibit members of Dewan Rakyat from switching parties, which was given a unanimous nod by the Dewan Rakyat yesterday, is a clear sign of mature politics practiced by members of Parliament or MPs. The Premier said mature politics practiced by the MPs was based on the spirit of Keluarga Malaysia, which places the interests and well-being of the people above anything else in all project planning and implementation. Commenting further, he also noted that the amendment was also important to ensure continued political stability. The Constitution Amendment Bill No. 3, 2022 was passed through a block voting, which saw 209 MPs voted in favour, none against or abstained, as 11 others were absent. The Premier also thanked all the 54 MPs who participated in the debate and shared their views on the bill. Meanwhile, the Antihopping Bill will be tabled for the first reading at the Dewan Negara on the 9th of August. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said he hopes that the bill could be enforced starting in the first week of September, according to the schedule. Elaborating further on the matter, the minister said the law begins when it is passed by the Dewan Negara before presenting it to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Bilal Shah for royal assent.
Walau bagaimanapun, mengikut kita punya timeline, tadi ada dibangkit oleh juga siapa yang mengatakan pada 1 September. Bukan, sebenarnya the first week of September. Kita berharapan rang undang-undang ini akan menjadi rang undang-undang.
Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi added that the bill gives freedom to the states whether they want to adopt it or otherwise. Currently, there are 4 states that adopt the anti-hopping law, namely Kelantan, Sabah, Sarawak and Pulau Pinang. However, he said that he will hold an engagement session with the state governments to persuade them to gazette the bill. Among the provisions included in the bill is the power of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, with the permission of the state's rulers, to make this law applicable at the state level through a gazette. Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi also expressed his appreciation to all parties involved in realising the bill, including the Legal Affairs Division of the Prime Minister's Department and the Attorney General's Chambers. Now, priority should be given on public health issues over the fundamental right to smoke, especially for young people. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the public is advised to help and support the Tobacco Products and Smoking Control Act and Tobacco Generation Endgame or GEG. In a Facebook posting, the Health DG said GEG aims to create a generation that is free from any smoking, including cigarettes and vaping, for those born in the year 2007 and the years after. On Wednesday, the Tobacco Products and Smoking Control Bill 2022 was presented for the first reading at Dewan Rakyat. According to the bill, individuals born after 2007 who smoke tobacco products or tobacco substitute products, use smoking devices or possess tobacco products, smoking materials, tobacco substitute products or smoking devices can be fined not more than 5,000 ringgit if convicted. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also cited historical facts about previous law enforcement, such as the wearing of helmets and seat belts, which concern the people's safety and lives. He added that there were no parties and lobbyists questioning human rights to continue not wearing helmets or seat belts then. The Malaysia International Agri-Commodity Expo and Summit, or MIACS 2022, has generated potential sales totaling 3 billion ringgit. Plantation Industries and Commodities Minister Datuk Zuraida Kamarudin said the potential sales were generated through the signing of various memoranda of understanding, sales and collaborative deals. Now, MIACS 2022 involved the participation of 1,288 trade delegates from 39 countries, with 537 business-to-business meetings conducted. Datuk Zuraida added that the government expects the sales to generate more income for the agri-commodity sector of all participating countries such as Nigeria, Bangladesh, India and Pakistan. Now, the expo was attended by more than 10,000 trade visitors. Themed as advancing the agri-commodity sector in a sustainable ecosystem, the three-day expo was held from the 26th to the 28th of July, featuring diverse agricultural products with focus on palm oil, rubber, timber, cocoa, pepper and kanaf, which are among the main drivers of the Malaysian economy. From January to May 2022, agri-commodity exports recorded a total of 87.6 billion ringgit, an increase of 2.7% compared with 85.3 billion ringgit in the same period in 2021. The Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said that the country's economic growth is expected to remain strong in the second quarter or Q2 of this year, driven by several economic indicators.
Jumlah dagangan Malaysia telah meningkat sebanyak 43.4% pada Jun tahun ini, paras tertinggi baru yang berjumlah 270.4 bilion ringgit. Kedua, ekspor meningkat 38.8% kepada 146.2 bilion ringgit, manakala import bertambah 49.3% kepada 124.2 bilion ringgit. Ketiga, pasaran buruh lebih baik. Kadar pengangguran telah menurun kepada 3.9% pada Mei tahun ini berbanding 5% pada bulan yang sama tahun 2020.
The Premier said wholesale and retail trade sales also recorded better performance, rising 19.9%, while manufacturing sales increased by 15.7% in May this year. The strong economic performance was also supported by consistent government policies, particularly the initiatives under Budget 2022, as well as stimulus packages and aids that were introduced. He added that the economy continues to record recovery during the country's transition to the endemic phase after facing the threat of COVID-19 for 2 years. He said for the first quarter of this year, or Q1 2022, the country's economy expanded by 5%, supported by the increase in domestic and external demand, as well as recovery in the labour market. He also disclosed that a total of 42.8 billion ringgit in investments had been approved, involving 910 projects, and created 24,906 new job opportunities for Keluarga Malaysia in Q1 2022. Still to come, jobless man charged in court for setting teenage boy on fire. Now, a husband and wife, as well as their 2 children, were among 6 individuals arrested on suspicion of trafficking various types of drugs, estimated to be worth more than 300,000 ringgit around the Klang Valley on Monday. Now, all suspects aged between 18 and 47 were detained at a condominium unit in Jalan Kuching and a terrace house in Taman Indah in Kapong.
Di kawasan Lembah Kelang juga.
Central Police Chief Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Bae Ing Lai said the suspects, all local, are believed to have been active for the past year. He said the modus operandi used by the family of 4 was to send drug supplies to 2 other suspects for sale.
Pembekal menjual dadah dengan cara menghantar terus ke pelanggan tetap di tempat yang ditetapkan oleh pembekal.
ACP Bae also noted that the suspects possessed ketamine in their home on a small scale for resale. In addition, Aramine 5 and ecstasy pills were also seized from another supplier on the roadside in Kuchalama, and the police also seized 49,057 ringgit in cash. The Central Police Chief added that the amount of the drugs seized was able to cover the use of 2,045 addicts. The case is currently being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952, and all the suspects are remanded for 7 days starting Tuesday until the 1st of August. On another note, a contractor was charged at the Ipoh's Magistrates Court yesterday with drug trafficking last week. Yip Simon, 35, nodded but did not make any plea when the charges were read out before Magistrate Nur Azrin Liana Muhammad Darus. Simon was charged with distributing methamphetamine weighing about 10,356 grams in the parking lot of Gunung Rapat Enam Food Centre, Jalan Raja Musa Mahdi, at about 4:40 p.m. on the 21st of July. The charge is framed under Section 39B, subsection 1A of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 and can be punished under Section 39B, subsection 2 of the same Act, which provides for the death penalty if convicted. Now, no bail was offered to the accused, but the court gave permission to the accused to lodge a police report. Last Thursday, police arrested the accused and his 38-year-old Vietnamese wife in two separate raids on the suspicion of being involved in drug trafficking. Now, during the raids, police seized 2 million ringgit worth of drugs in the suspect's possession. It is believed that the accused's wife was released on police bail yesterday morning, and the court has set 11th of October for the remention of the case. A jobless man was charged at the Kemaman Magistrates Court yesterday with injuring a teenage boy by setting him on fire last Friday. Sheikh Hilman Hakim Sheikh Anwar, 28 years old, nodded after the charge was read out to him, but no plea was recorded as the case is under the jurisdiction of the Sessions Court. Sheikh Hilman was accused of deliberately causing grievous hurt to Muhammad Fikri Adam Abdullah, 15 years old, at 3 a.m. on Friday in Kampung Perasing Jaya near Jabor. The charge, framed under Section 326 of the Penal Code, carries a jail term of up to 20 years, a fine or whipping upon conviction. Magistrate Tengku Eliana Tuan Kamarzaman fixed 1st of August to set bail. Earlier, 20-year-old Muhammad Razman Zalizan and Muhammad Razif Muhammad and Muhammad Imran Muhammad, 18, were also charged for committing the same offence against Muhammad Fikri under Section 323 of the Penal Code at the same time, date and location. However, they pleaded not guilty. The court fixed 8th of September for mention and set bail at 1,800 ringgit each. Muhammad Fikri suffered 40% burns on his neck and back after he was believed to have been set on fire by his friends after being accused of stealing 100 ringgit. The Kelantan Road Transport Department, or JPJ, recorded a collection of bids amounting to 2.4 million ringgit through the online vehicle number plate bidding system, or JPJ e-bid, for DEL vehicle registration numbers. Kelantan JPJ Director Muhammad Mizwari Abdullah said the bid, which was open for 5 days on the 21st of July, exceeded the initial target of 2 million ringgit. Muhammad Mizwari, through a statement release, said the number of users registered with JPJ e-bid is 857,569, with a total of 2,292 bidders. He said the highest bid price was 95,088 ringgit for DEL7, while DEL11, which attracted the most number of bidders of 14, went for 58,000 ringgit. The remaining registration numbers that were not bid will be open to the public to be purchased at a minimum price starting from 300 ringgit to 20,000 ringgit for the current category numbers. Now, people who are interested in getting the rest of the registration number can apply at the State JPJ office or branch. Kelantan JPJ has thus far recorded a bid collection amounting to 37,855,689 ringgit through the implementation of the JPJ e-bid system, starting with DDP to DEL series. On the foreign front, floods submerged eastern Kentucky. Chinese President Xi Jinping warned his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden not to play with fire over the self-ruled island of Taiwan during a lengthy phone call Thursday that the White House said aimed to steady the superpowers' rocky relationship. Now, a statement relayed by Chinese state media said the call, lasting 2 hours and 17 minutes, according to the White House, was candid, often diplomatic speak for a difficult exchange. The tensions around Taiwan are steadily escalating amid fears that Xi could ultimately order an invasion to impose Beijing's rule. In the latest flashpoint, Chinese authorities are furious at unconfirmed plans by Biden ally and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, to visit the island. Although U.S. officials frequently visit Taiwan, separated by a narrow strip of water from the Chinese mainland, Beijing considers a Pelosi trip as a major provocation. Now, China on Wednesday warned Washington that they will bear the consequences if the trip goes ahead. Now, during the call, Xi was quoted as telling Biden the position of the Chinese government and people on the Taiwan issue is consistent. In response, Biden reassured Xi that U.S. policy, known as strategic ambiguity, was unchanged, favoring the status quo in Taiwan, with Washington recognizing Chinese sovereignty, but opposing any enforcement to allow the Taiwanese to retain their distinct rule. British Conservatives Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss underwent their first grilling in front of party members yesterday as they wage a bitter duel to succeed Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Now, the hustings in Leeds, Northern England, was the opening bout of 12 nationwide events as the grassroots members elect a new leader after a cabinet revolt forced scandal-hit Johnson to quit. The result will be announced next week, and Truss has built up a strong lead in surveys of Tory members after vowing immediate tax cuts as Britain confronts a slump in living standards. Defence Secretary Ben Wallace used an editorial published in the Times Daily after the hustings to throw his support behind Truss, saying she was the only candidate who has both the breadth and depth of experience needed. Now, on foreign policies, both rivals used the debate to extend Johnson's staunch support for Ukraine and to resist China's increasingly authoritarian rise while profiting from vaguely defined Brexit opportunities. Meanwhile, former Finance Minister Sunak has denounced Truss's fairy tale economics, vowing to tame surging inflation first, but has admitted that he is the underdog in the contest. In Leeds, there were plenty of hard-nosed questioning from Tory members. The candidates went on stage one after the other, rather than squaring off at lecterns from opposite ends of a TV studio. Now, the members applauded co-chairman Andrew Stephenson when he observed that their party is poised to appoint Britain's third woman prime minister or its first one of colour. Thousands of people demonstrated in Buenos Aires on Thursday demanding a universal salary in crisis-ridden Argentina. Protesters congregated outside the presidential palace where centre-left President Alberto Fernandez was meeting his economy minister Silvina Batakis, who is opposed to such an idea, as rumours around that a cabinet reshuffle is in the works. Argentina is gripped by an economic crisis marked by soaring inflation and rapid currency devaluation. Radical leftist groups close to the Everyone's Front ruling coalition have for weeks been demanding a universal living wage. They are angry at the government for the deteriorating social conditions faced by ordinary Argentinians. Protesters want a minimum living wage worth 67,000 pesos, or around $490, which amounts to the cost of 2 basic food baskets for the country's lowest earners. Some 37% of Argentina's 45 million population live in poverty, while inflation for the first half of the year topped 36%. Argentina, which earlier this year renegotiated repayments on a $44 billion loan with the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, has committed to reducing its public deficit from 3% in 2021 to 0.9% by 2024. Batakis has just returned to the country from Washington, where she met IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva. The flash flooding caused by torrential rains has killed at least 3 people in eastern Kentucky, United States of America, and left some residents stranded on rooftops and in trees. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said this is one of the worst, most devastating flooding events in the state's history. The governor said at least 3 flood-related deaths had been confirmed so far, including an 81-year-old woman in Perry County, and he expects double-digit deaths. Now, many roads resemble rivers, mangled cars littered the landscape, and muddy brown floodwaters lapped against the rooftops of low-lying houses in the state's Appalachian region. Now, some areas reported receiving more than 20 centimeters of rain in a 24-hour period. The North Fork of the Kentucky River at Whitesburg, usually 1 to 2 feet deep at this time of the year, rose to a staggering 20 feet, well above its previous record of 14.7 feet. Now, the governor said a state of emergency had been declared in half a dozen counties, and 4 National Guard helicopters have been deployed to help with rescue efforts. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife had deployed Zodiac boats to carry out water rescues. Bashir said around 25,000 homes were without power statewide and many were without water. Up next in sport, Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games officially kicks off. Now, the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games officially opens its curtain this morning with a dazzling opening ceremony at the newly refurbished Alexander Stadium, Perry Bar, in front of 30,000 spectators. Featuring the city's rich and diverse history, the vibrant show was divided into a few scenes along with an impressive light show and spectacular fireworks, all crammed into 2.5 hours of a colourful evening. The organisers also paid a fitting tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who celebrated the Platinum Jubilee marking the 70th anniversary of her reign. Pakistani activist for female education and 2014 Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai made a surprise cameo as she delivered a powerful speech sharing her hopes on women's participation in every society. The athletes and officials then marched into the stadium to thunderous applause, with Australia the first to enter the stadium, while Malaysia were the 42nd team to do so. The Malaysian contingent, with women's squash player Aifa Azman and powerlifting ace Bonnie Bunyagustin as flag bearers, led the way as 38 other athletes and officials, including Chef de Mission CDM Dato' Sharul Zaman Yahya and his deputy Gerard Montero, followed suit. The Malaysian men and women looked dashing in their white 5-button baju Melayu and short modern kebaya that featured the national flower, hibiscus. England's top male diver, Tom Daley, was among the athletes given the honour of carrying the Queen's baton before it was finally passed to homegrown former heptathlete Denise Louise. Louise then handed the baton containing a message from the Queen to Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, who read out the message before declaring the 22nd edition of the Games open. About 6,500 athletes from 72 countries and territories will take part in the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, which will run until the 8th of August. Let's take a look at the development of the Malaysia contingent at the ASEAN Universities Game, or AUG, in Thailand. Malaysia karatekas continue their fine run, adding another 3 gold, 2 silver and 3 bronze medals yesterday, surpassing the target set by the Ministry of Higher Education, or MOHE. Siti Nur Azwani Nur Azli delivered the first goal in the women's kumite below 61 kg by defeating Chananchida Tamol of Thailand on the countback after both were tied 1-1 in the final. H. Surya Sangka won Malaysia's second gold in the men's below 67 kg category after overcoming Indonesia's Nur Halim Arlendi 7-4 in the final. In the first round, Surya ousted Chaiwat Piandi of Thailand 12-7. Meanwhile, A. Danish Roy vanquished Thailand's Pirunpon Chumpotong 5-1 in the finals to win the men's kumite above 84 kg category. S. Jirajeswan and S. Katish won silver in the kumite below 60 kg and kumite below 84 kg respectively. Contributing a bronze each were Amira Shahira Azlan, women's below 68 kg, Arif Afifuddin Malik, men's below 75 kg, and S. Rajiv Naidu, men's below 84 kg. Moving on to tennis, despite the stern test on Thursday, Roberto Bautista Agut's momentum is building at the Generali Open in Kitzbühel in Austria. Now, the Spaniard was under pressure early from Jiří Lehecka in the pairs quarter-final clash at the ATP 250 event in Austria. But the third seed dug deep to prevail 4-6, 7-5, 7-5 in an absorbing 2-hour, 56-minute encounter and reached the semi-finals for the first time. Both players enjoyed success in their return games, with Bautista Agut converting 6 from 13 break points and Lehecka 5 from 9. Bautista Agut took his chance in the 12th game of the deciding set, however, converting his third match point of the game on the Lehecka serve to complete a hard-earned win. Bautista Agut will next face 5th seed Albert Ramos Vinolas in Kitzbühel after the Spaniard early defeated countryman Pedro Martinez 6-4, 6-2. Ramos Vinolas broke Martinez's serve 4 times in a comfortable 1-hour, 49-minute win to make it back-to-back ATP Tour semi-finals following his run in Gstaad last week. The 34-year-old is chasing his second title of 2022 in Kitzbühel, where he reached the final in 2019. Now, not even rain was able to stop Yannick Hafmann from securing one of the biggest wins of his career. The German stunned former world number 3 Dominic Thiem 6-4, 3-6, 6-4. It is the 30-year-old's 4th ATP Tour semi-final and his second at the Austrian ATP 250. The rain suspended play at 5-4 in the third set, with Thiem ready to serve to stay in the match. When the players returned, Hafmann took advantage of some loose errors from the 17-time tour-level titleist to triumph after 2 hours and 28 minutes. UEFA on Thursday launched a disciplinary investigation against Turkey's Fenerbahce after a group of its fans chanted Russian President Vladimir Putin's name in response to conceding a goal at home to Dynamo Kiev in a Champions League qualifier. Fenerbahce's hope of competing in Europe's elite Champions League this season were dashed by a 2-1 extra-time loss to Kiev in the second qualifying round tie in Istanbul on Wednesday. Vitaly Buyelski put the Ukrainian side ahead in the 57th minute, shortly after Fenerbahce midfielder Ismail Yuksek was sent off in a tense match. The game ended 1-1 after 90 minutes, but Kiev knocked out Fenerbahce with a 114th minute winner by Alexander Karaveev in the extra time. Buyelski's celebration after scoring was met with chants of Vladimir Putin by many Fenerbahce's fans, prompting an online backlash condemning the Istanbul side's fans and calling on European governing body UEFA to take action against the club. In a statement, Fenerbahce said the chants made by some fans did not represent the club, its position or its views, adding that it stood firmly against the war in Ukraine. And that's all the time we have for this afternoon. Recapping our top story, Antihopping Bill will be tabled at Dewan Negara in August and could come into effect by September. I'm Jessica Lee. Thanks for watching.